Hi guys, and welcome to VCT Game Changers Southeast Asian Series FSL, the league that's all about growing the competitive women's gaming scene and seeing how women in esports change the game. It's us, your host Jenny Vera Julie, your caster Zaya, and of course, once again, this FSL Overtime is brought to you by our sponsor Intel, supported by our official media partner Yahoo, and also joining us this time around, official chair partner Secret Lab. And talking about joining us for the first time this time around, Zaya, new face on the desk. I'm so excited to have you with us for the rest of the FSL circuit. Do you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Hello everyone, my name is Zayora. You can call me Saya in short, and I'm happy to be here. Pretty excited, a bit of nervous on my end as well, but I hope we have a great time together.
You'll be fine. How are we feeling about wildcard playoffs day number 1?
Well, to start it off, we are going to have two best of 3 series for today. We're going to have it with Asteria versus G9. So to start it, we do have the members Trey, Muffin Loof, Britzy, Casper, and of course the other members as well with Meow and Jelly. So they are basically a Southeast Asian team comprising of 5 from India and 1 from Pakistan, which is Britzy. The team is back with the same core roster that they have, and they were originally termed as Couldn't Care Less in Open 1 and 2, but then they renamed themselves as Asteria from Open 3 onwards. The team was also unable to participate in the overtime despite taking part in every FSL Open because their third original member, Sway, had left towards the end of the circuit. And of course, to make it a hindsight, they were able to make it to the playoffs Open 2, 4, and 5. The notable things that you would want to see for these teams is that they have won all of their map picks, and most of them are Icebox. And their historically weaker maps were a bind and split, but both had no wins so far. But the players that you have to look out for is definitely going to be Muffin Loop on Reina, because that is like their MVP of their matches in the wild cards. And this, of course, their contender basically is G9. They are an all Thailand team comprising of Sherry, Pity Mook, Move, and PNY, as well as Toki. So these are all Thailand team. Once again, they are consisting of X Magnifique, which is Sherry and Tokibi. And this is also PNY's first FSL tournament in 2021. And they were newly formed for the FSL wildcard. And they really fought their way up to second round of the losers bracket to make it all the way to the playoffs. So basically, they also have this notable plays wherein they had no loss on Icebox as well. 3 matches in total. They also like to pick Ascent. They've only played Ascent and Icebox so far in the groups, so this is basically a battle of who gets to conquer the Icebox map here. And the player to look out for is Move on Reina as well, because she's also been the MVP for their matches in the wildcard.
Yep, so definitely a lot to play for both of these two teams. I think we're going to take a look at the format for the competition so far, and there you guys have it on your screens right now. This is the FSL circuit. We are almost to the final stage, FSL Elite, almost there, guys. We've played a whole 6-month circuit of FSL Opens all the way from March to August, where we had 3 teams qualified for FSL Elite already, a Celeste, Galaxy Racer, as well as Renatus White. And then we had FSL Overtime, so the top 3 teams from there also qualified to FSL Elite, and right now we are in through FSL Wildcard, where we'll get the last 2 teams who will pick up the last 2 spots that will play at the end of this month. Yeah. Then we're going to take a look at the prize pool as well, because those are some pretty eye-popping numbers on your screen, guys. Those are correct. That's the correct amount of zeros that you see behind those numbers. 5,000 prize pool for every single open. Wildcard this time around, again, 5,000 US dollar prize pool. And these teams, if they do make it through FSL Elite, I mean, that's going to be a $25,000 prize pool at the end of this month. So definitely the stakes are high, and there you can see the teams that have qualified already. We had a Celeste, GXR, Renatus White qualifying through the FSL Open leaderboard through the 6-month long circuit, and then the 3 teams through from FSL open overtime. Arakan Aresta, RTC Arise, as well as Big Scythe from Indonesia. So we're still looking to pick up the last 7th and 8th teams to go into FSL Elite, but whew, it's going to be a pretty exciting competition for this weekend.
Very, very exciting. I'm looking forward to these teams because as we draw closer in towards our matches, we really get to see all of their prowess in terms of our games. And yeah, these are the prize pools for the.
Yeah, the thing I like about this is that first and second, they've got that 1,200 USD prize. So, I mean, they're both going to make it through into FSL Elite. Kind of the prize was going to be the same, but even for the 3rd to 8th place teams who unfortunately won't be able to punch their ticket through to FSL Elite at the end of this month, they will still pick up a hefty chunk of change in their pockets. So, will be a bit of a nice consolation prize for them, even if they don't make it through. And these are the teams that will be playing for this weekend. Of course, wildcard, what you're seeing for this weekend are the playoff games. The teams all were playing in the qualifiers and the group stages over last week. And these are the 8 teams that qualified into this weekend. So you can see Asteria, Jolang, Couldn't Care Less, Vitality, Estelle, Ravens, Komorebi Hearts, Mad Army, as well as G9. Definitely a lot of very familiar teams if you guys have been following the FSL circuit all the way since March, and we're about ready to get back into our first best of 3 for today. It's going to be G9 versus Asteria. How are we feeling about this one? I think your camera might have frozen. Yep, I'm super excited too. I believe we already do have the map selection for this series. It is going to be Split, Icebox, and then Ascent if the series does go to all 3 maps. And we were talking earlier, Zaya, just now about the Icebox pick and how it's particularly significant for Asteria. I believe they've won all of their maps where they were able to get map selection, and every single time that they had the map pick, they picked them all in Icebox, and then they won. So definitely a lot of confidence and the skill to back that up. So what do we think?
A lot of skill indeed, and of course these types of maps really require basically a lot of factors, not just about how you really call the shots, but also how you manage to isolate your angles, and as well as how you outplay your opponents. So it's really vital for both of our teams to basically always be proactive in cases like these.
Yeah, I'm also kind of a bit worried for Asteria in that map number 1, just because historically Split as well as Bind haven't been the best map pickups for them. But before we toss it over to Kentril as well, real quick, Zaya, who do we think is going to take the series, and what do you think the score is going to be?
It's going to be pretty interesting, but I think it is a 2-1 in favor of Asteria. But that's just me. I would love to be proven wrong, so I'm pretty excited how things are gonna pan out here.
All right, guys. Well, joining Zaya to bring you all the action for the next couple of maps is going to be Kentril. Hey, I'm Quack, lady and gentlemen. All ears on you.
Hey, here I am. Cool. Hey. This is it's a very nice introduction. Of course, she's always doing all that stuff. Jenny, we love her. But I mean, this is going to be a great one. Asteria versus G9. I believe we've pretty much briefed everyone who's viewing this about the teams, but I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about their agent compositions? The first map, Split.
Very interesting, because it's like there's a usual, a fundamental lineup wherein I'm pretty sure I'm expecting double duelist lineups here, like a Reina and a Jet. Definitely the Reina coming in from Muffin Loop and Mauve, and also Other than Jet, they might go for utilities as well with their smokers. Probably either an Omen, maybe. In my opinion, like Omen would be better because Omen can basically have more coverage, especially with his shrouded steps that can really help in clutch plays that may happen for both sides of the teams. Also, could be a Sova for any information gathering that can happen through, especially even if lineups are available. And Split, we do know that Split is one of the most compact maps that we have. So basically, lineups through and through can be learned in the process. So how about you? What do you think about this?
I mean, I think it's gonna be very information. Like you said, it's tight, it's split. All these little corners, and that's where at least we've seen in the past for FSL Valorant opens before. Teams would love to go for that, like you said, double duelist setup. They get very aggressive. They rush in. Sometimes they even go with things like the judge plays, which it gets pretty disgusting right up in here. It's FSL. Things get a little bit messy, but we love the action. But interestingly enough, like you said, right? So Asteria has the tendency to go for that double duelist setup. It's often Muffin Loop plus, I think, one of their newer players. They would go for that Reyna plus Jet combo.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting because Split, sometimes people love to go for Raze. And of course, Raze with her paint shells, you can, deny area a little bit. This time, if you go for Reyna, if you don't get frags, I mean, no disrespect to Muffin Loop, she probably can. She's the one that's been lighting up the kill feed. I mean, highest average combat score that she got in the group stages was 379. Pretty much average kills 20 for every game that she would get. So she's strong, right? But Reyna on Split, is that what would you prefer, Reyna or Raze?
To be paired with Jet, I would say Raze could also be, one of the pacemakers, especially in this kind of map, because Raze provides so much mobility, especially with those satchels, as well as those pages, as you mentioned. They can shove away the opponents, and as well as to really harass them and into actually going back. So that alone itself is a whole new different strategy. But the thing is, in these types of tournaments, I think you would want to go into a very comfortable, agent pick. So I guess we will definitely be seeing Arena, at least for either sides of the team. And also, like, to add it up to that, there are a lot of moments wherein our teams really like to shake things up a bit. So it's basically not just about tactics alone, but more on like timing and their positioning as well, on how they isolate their fights and how to really have those straight transfers and their aim duels as well. There are a lot of things to consider, but I'm just really excited how both of our teams are going to play this out.
You definitely gotta love that. I mean, you said it right there. Shaking things up sometimes. It's something that can catch your opponents off guard. But you know what? For these two teams, it's I want to agree with the fact that you said it's going to be 2-1 Asteria, just because, and also I'm always, I feel like I'm on a high wire every time I'm on camera here because I'm afraid of offending the teams or anything that might go wrong. But G9, for those that don't know, Illustrator, one of our other FSL casters, he was coaching for Hashira. G9 was the team that basically stole Hashira's spot in the wild card. So the fact that they're here right now, they'd better make use of their spot and I don't know, beat Asteria, or even if they go in the lower brackets, make something of whatever they've got, because they're here for a reason and they're here to play.
Yes, and speaking of play, we are going to head on now into our drafting phase. And as usual, we do get to see some lineups that we were able to at least predict in the first few minutes. We do have here for the side of the G9, they will be getting probably actually this is Raze and Reyna. This is interesting. We are not seeing a Jet here, so this is quite the matchup. We have Omen here with Sherry really used as their smokes. For the side of Asteria, this is interesting. They have the Viper to be one of their utilities or their support. So this alone basically helps in narrowing down the areas of the map, specifically in A sites. Once you get a good lineup of her walls, it's really going to help in in getting a better angle of the opponents. But again, as we mentioned, everything is down to how they are going to execute their gameplay.
That's absolutely right. You know, if your executions get messed up and you kind of lose players in the process, it's going to be that much more difficult for you to break into a site. But that said, it is going to be a very interesting match. I mean, look at these compositions. You mentioned the Astra earlier on, Viper as well. It's double controller. This is something I'm a big fan of, but let's see if they can actually use it. I mean, double controller, double initiator as well. I don't know about you, but I want to see what happens, what Asteria has in store for us right now. On the other hand, though, for the time being, G9, only 2 players to watch on the A side.
Yes, and this is interesting because usually you'd want to have an aggressive push over towards A, but I think this is more on testing the waters. So if you see me out here trying to be aggressive as well in towards Grand area, has some flashes here. PNY going to go for a little bit of safety and in towards the fence here, but now will be taking the first blood. That's going to be grenade with the right click, beautifully done by Britzy. PNY here just waiting for these utilities to run out. Could go for the backdoor shot here in towards A site, but now they may secure it. Oh, nice right click from Britzy.
That's a classic. That's a classic right there. Now Cherry with their own frenzy as well, just trying to do a little bit of damage, soften up the defenses. But for now, this is not going to be an easy fight at all ahead of the G9 girls. I mean, you're looking at 4 more players that you have to take out before you even get onto site. But Casper, just blind shots with the ghost past the smokes, will actually be able to find a stray player. Muck, though, still able to fire a couple more shots, does a little bit of damage. But I don't know about you. 20 seconds remaining at this point, and it's looking pretty much impossible. It's 2 angles that she's got to look out for. Does isolate the one, but Muffin Loop with the headshot will be able to take her down. So Asteria wins the pistol.
That's actually pretty good coming in from them. It wasn't as aggressive as you think it is, but the fact that they were able to secure the site in a manner wherein they were able to shove away PNY and of course Moves as well. The fact that they were able to do that, it kind of raises the chance of them securing the site. So if they were to do this again, I think G9 should call that they might need to stack A here, to say the least, or maybe go for the retake instead.
I would love to see that, because the way that they're playing right now, it's a very standard setup, right? And if we're talking about Valorant as a numbers game, they probably should lose this, but PNY with the paint shells actually managed to pick up one. That's fairly interesting to say the least, but still, the firepower will prevail as Muffin Loop pushes up forward.
They are going to go for the flanking capabilities here, but take note, it's a 3 versus 4 fight. So they may go for the double peaks, but the post-plant positions coming in from Asteria is already set and ready to go. So that Britzy getting down 1, Pitchy for the trade. It's a 2 versus 3 Sky here. Muffin Loop is in a good position in towards A main. So any peek that can come from, we have better weaponry here. But that's going to be a miss here with the help of Peachy, just jiggle peeking in the process, but that's information. So Peachy has to be very careful when trying to enter here. I just hope they don't go in a manner where they may be in collateral, but right now that's going to be Shrey with the 1 and Casper for the other, and that's the second round coming in from Asteria.
Good attempt, I guess. You know, they were trying to use that the paranoia from Cherry KX, but at the same time, like you said, right, the whole thing about lining up for your opponents, you don't want to give them a collateral shot. So they were definitely, you know, kind of hesitating a little bit, and I think that's one of the things that really bit them in the back as well. But regardless, it's a pretty standard start, right? 2-0, you win the pistol, you win the second round as well. But here is where things get interesting. Right now, G9 with the full buys, they desperately need this round to secure a strong lead at the start of this very first game.
Loving how Asteria decides to basically split up. Maybe the plan here is to just create some noise towards A, because basically they're making wonders in towards A side. So this could be a diversion play that can come from them. But look at this lineup coming from the smokes. That was just well played by Shrey, if I'm not mistaken. And right now, PNY here uses the paint shells to basically try and, you know, deny entry from the ramps. But with this wall, this is interesting, because look at the other side of the map, though. They're making their way towards B site. So the diversion play is, you know, coming in for the side of Asteria. Look, once they plant, they will be going on a reactive state to go to B site.
My God.
There you go. There it is.
Okay, but here it comes. This is the mission, right? Because now Mission Impossible pretty much done. They got the spike down, but the rest of the squad has to rendezvous with them on the B side itself. And with their current weaponry, it's not going to be the easiest thing because Pitchy and PNY, they're going in hot. They managed to take the 2 players down, and it's going to be a retakes game at this point. Let's see what they can do from Heaven. They've got nothing but Spectres. They're trying to dump all their utility onto site. They managed to stop the plant for a little bit longer, but at the very end of it, Shrey Uwu, she's the only one left. Again, with the Spectre, trying to stop it with her snake bites, but it's just a little bit off the edge. She manages to take one down with her, but that's going to be it for now. 1-2. This is the standard start that we were looking for. But man, Paji, Zaya, this is damage done. I mean, take a look at G9's economy.
Yes, indeed. And of course, they really can't afford at this point to go for the rifles because, yeah, you did say damage was done and Peachy's forced to only have half armor with the Judge as well. But I'm not really fond of Judge, especially in the hands of Sage, because basically if you are a Sage, usually you'd be in the back lines and waiting for potential retakes. So Judge weapons for me may work for the duelists and for the secondary ones, but right now we are going to get back in here. So a little bit of a change of plans coming in from Asteria, trying to capitalize on the B site. Flashes in for KOP, but I love it though that G9 is being passive here. They're not being too reactive to these utilities. Muffin Loop takes a peek, but she corrects me down. Proves me wrong as she takes down a Muffin Loop in the process.
You get slammed by the Judge's hammer. There we go. This is, like you said, right? Passive plays. They know that, you know, maybe they don't have the best weaponry, so they're going to hold back a little bit, play it safe, play it passive, let them walk into your crosshairs. And that's exactly what they're hoping for right now. She spots the barrel, gets the second kill in the round. Oh my god, G9, they're absolutely on a roll. And at this point, Asteria's going to have to go with a full-on execute and pray for it to work out. It does work out for the time being, though. A little bit of a split push from Heaven as well, but she doesn't expect something from the back, and that's coming from Mailroom. They managed to get control over B side itself up around the pillars, but will they be able to stop the aggression coming in from PNY?
Oh, yes, indeed, says Britzy with that 2K coming in, taking down Movays and the Rays as well, PNY. But right now, Peachy tries to go for the defuse, and that's half, and you know, manages to actually even out the odds, which is really great. Passive plays are working for G9 here, and they kind of found a way, at least for the first 4 rounds in our fight, that okay, we don't need to basically be as aggressive as Asteria is you know, putting out right now. So the retakes for them is really remarkable right now. So for Asteria, they did have a very good start, to be fair. So they still have more options to win this out. But right now they are gonna go for some sheriffs, half armors. Casper and Britzy not gonna have any armor here, which is a very nice call because you would want better weaponry onto the next round.
It's not too bad. In fact, it's something that I think Asteria weren't quite expecting. I mean, look at all these wall placements. Normally, you would expect a Sage to be somewhere up around mid, but in fact, she's playing up around A, walling off ramps, walling off the top of Heaven as well. It's just question marks in Asteria's mind. They're not quite sure. You know, this is not something that you normally see in a game, but for now, they're still banking on this A site, hiding behind the walls, trying to find an opening pick. But ultimately, it's the same G9 passiveness. Double kill with the spray down from PNY. That turns into a triple. And look at this. She's got her ultimate.
Beautiful spray transfer, as you mentioned, from PNY here, and we're starting to see her really popping off right now, and which is really great because this all the more works well for G9. And right now, again, the passive plays, it's really working. Oh, but PNI with the 4K with that pain shells. Cornered out Stray in the process. But Stray here will deny the ace here. And Peachy and Muck just went going into the back. Was spotted out Peachy. Waits for the peek. Takes another one. Gets a gun change.
What?
Get a third for Stray. Can this be a potential clutch? I don't want to jinx it. But goes in toward the ramp right now. And let's see. Have to check her corners here. Don't want to create the same mistake into the peak, but look at this Sherry with that patience, able to deny Shrey from getting that clutch.
I feel like that was the same thing that we saw in the previous round against Peachy Stray. Ooh, girl, you gonna be doing me like that, girl? You're toying with my heart. PNY almost getting the ace, and then she gets denied, and then Stray, ooh, almost getting an ace clutch of her own, but then getting shut down as well. What is this game? It's only the 5th round, moving on to the 6th now, but these teams are really, really heating things up.
Definitely. Really close fight, I'd say, at least for both sides of the team. So Peachy here is going to be suppressed, I'd say, at least for a few amount of seconds. They are trying to make some noise in towards B side. So maybe the gameplay here is that they may want to spend the utilities that is going to come from G9 so that they may have a better control over the map. But right now, Trailblazer will be denying any more information that will happen. Slow orbs as well, because you would want that delay entry to come in so that the other members can go for the flank, in which we are seeing the Killjoy is already on its way, but Britzy will be taking down Peachy in the process. Muffin loop for that 2K, that was really beautiful, and Shrey as well. And with only Killjoy remaining, with only Muff in here, could go for the ace, but again, this is post plant already, so they have the option to not. But that suppress was denied, but Trey may have an idea to where she's at, uses the tops and moves forward, but will be getting knocked in the process.
You see it on the screen right there. I mean, that basically says it all. I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth as well, Zaya. It's a flawless execute from Asteria. This is really chef's kiss. I don't know if they rehearsed or practiced this, but it certainly looks like something that they've got in their books, and they were just waiting for the perfect moment to pull it out, because it's, like you said, all the utility being denied. Britzy coming in from Garage and making use of that huge AoE. Her ultimate overdrive, null command, it basically locked everyone down. They weren't able to do anything at all. In fact, they were just hiding behind the pillars, weren't expecting someone to come up from heaven as well. So coming into this round now, they have to be a lot more careful. They're suspecting a lot of different plays from Asteria, which is why they're getting a little bit inquisitive, but I don't know if that's the right call. In fact, losing a little bit of presence up towards A right now might just be the call for Asteria's players to push past ramps and in towards B heaven, where a lot of damage has gone through. Sherry KX will be able to secure herself an upgraded weapon.
Indeed, and look at this. Mulvey's trying his best to go for the Jiggle Peak and that spray to potentially, just injure out some damage. That was one, but not going to be another, as Casper goes for the shutdown. This is a 2v1 situation, so Muck is gonna try his best to go in towards heaven. Oh, Shrey, you have to be careful with your angle here. You might be picked off from the behind, but then again, Casper is also in the vicinity, so Muck here may try to go and get this gun, for better weaponry. Indeed, spots out of Vandal, will now go in towards heaven, and I like it how Shrey already goes into a better position, so we'll be meeting both ends. But Casper, you know what, he's gonna end it up himself and not actually meet up with Shrey in the process, and that's going to be the 4th point now for Asteria.
That's just a true, I guess, like Wild West duel. They kind of heard her, I think, with the reload, probably. And then
actually,
of course,
the turret, if I'm not mistaken.
Definitely the turret. The turret was the one that sold it 100%. But sometimes you want to place the turret right in front of you, like, turret, tank some damage for me while I try to find a headshot. But it wasn't meant to be. For now, it's a really just a solid play by Asteria. I mean, look at the way that they're approaching the rounds. They're being careful. They're not full blindly rushing in. In fact, they've got lineups for days. Look at this on the
That's from
site.
Spawn, mind you. That was from Spawn. And that was really a good job coming in. And right now, Shrey here once again uses the ult. Actually went in towards the swarm grenade. Yeah,
look at B.
B, however, they're just making some noise in here. So I wonder how Gina is going to react to this, because B is definitely open, to say the least, for the side of Asteria right now. Britzy's already planting. They may be bamboozled right here. The spike is planted in towards B, but Peachy's already in towards heaven, but Muffin Loop still able to swag up a kill, taking down Muck.
Wait. I don't know. It's a little bit of a ring around the rosy.
Yeah. It's like a play of a hide and seek and tag. Right now, we do see the post-plant positions are really nice here for the side of Asteria. They have angles to cover. So Moves was able to take down Britzy, who was blinded. Casper, though, for the 2K. Now with the paint shells here, Peachy takes one. Is it going to be another? But I don't think Peachy has time at this point. May try to go into the garage, but Muffin Luke will still take the life of Peachy. And that's going to be their 5th point now. I am correct. This is just, you know, starting to really roll over for Asteria. So what do you think can G9 do here, especially now that their economy is quite damaged in towards this 9th round that we have?
I mean, this round, it's definitely kind of not in their books, right? They don't have the economy. They don't quite have what they need. The thing is, or at least the problem is so far, is that Asteria are always one step ahead of them. Asteria are being so proactive in these rounds that G9 are forced to just catch up to them. They have to react to these plays, and that's where it has to be a thing of G9 just trying to be maybe a little bit more inquisitive, trying to get a read on what Asteria exactly are trying to do. The moment they see something like Viper headed towards A, the whole team rotates over. But, you know, it's Asteria, and they're doing like a whole, like, my name is Joey Terribiani, and you've been bamboozled. The spike goes down on B. Yes. What is going on?
But to be fair, that was actually a great call coming in from Asteria, because basically that's the objective of the game. You would want to place that spike down with a better, you know, post-plant situation, and they just executed that really lovely in towards our 8th round. And right now, they are going to try for some mid-control. Trailblazer is here to see any information, and they already know that one is already in towards heaven, but I'm a very interested on how this smoke play is going to come out, because sometimes going in towards smoke is pretty risky. High risk, high reward. So right now, Muffin Loop here. I love it how he takes cover of the race, but Cherry still wins the aim duel and goes. Oh, the timing will be in the favor of Cherry right now. Britzy, though, will be using the flash here. Already has an idea to where Pitchy's at, but 3 versus 5, this is pretty interesting. So let's see how this thing goes. That's going to be one. Not going to be another. Malvase is going to take down Trey in towards vents. Pitchy here is really going in towards garage.
30 seconds left.
May they go towards the sewers, or will they wait for the moment to strike here? Or maybe they'll just go in towards heaven B.
That's what they were trying to do. But information granted, it's going to be Malvase who makes it a trade. Casper still going in, though. She wants to get it, but doesn't expect Peachy to be hiding just right underneath her nose. And this is G9. It's a very great, adapted round, I think. And definitely MVP for me would be Cherry KX. If not for her impact frags, especially towards the start of the round and towards mid, I don't think the results could have been quite the same. This is where, you know, they're just reading the fact that, okay, maybe we don't have the best weaponry, but we do have Spectres. I'm going to abuse that close range duel that I know Asteria are probably going to go for, because they've been going mid for quite a while now.
Yes, indeed. So because this mid control is quite not working well for Asteria, I think they do have the options of, you know, playing between A side and B side. So maybe they just want to have the impression that they can too take control of this. But the thing is, PNY here will go for that first blood, but Muffin for the trade. So they really want to assert their presence in towards this mid side. But because we've seen the patience time and time again for G9, which is quite remarkable, it's making it's making things for Asteria to go with caution. And speaking of caution, that Showstopper is going to take down Cherry KX, who was able to change at least this amount of game in towards that fact. But look at this, Peachy will be taking down Muffin Loop, who attempted to try to take them on a closer fight.
It's like, I just want to say, like, Peachy, don't pick up the Phantom. The rest of the game, just go with the Spectre, because it's been working out so well for her. going in with that sort of run and gun style, especially in towards these close range angles that she knows she'll probably win. I mean, she has the mobility, she has the firepower as well, but now it's going to be Casper holding the angle. She manages to take down one, but Muck makes it a trade, and right now, same post-plant position set up from Asteria. They're holding from Garage. Not expecting close player, though, runs out of ammo. It's going to be Muck who takes her down and brings us back to an equal score of 5-5.
Definitely. The lockdown is one of the vital rules or vital plays that happened in towards that previous round, because it forced out the members of Asteria, and take note that the spike wasn't planted in a manner wherein they can go and actually peek from Garage. So that was actually a good play coming in from Muck as well. And you mentioned he was the one to take down, she was one to take down final one for the side of Asteria here. So that in hindsight was basically good. And as well as Moves placing herself near Garage was basically a good play from G9. So at least they have intel to where they are, and the timing went into their favor. So right now, in towards the second 11th round rather, we do see some walls over here. Peachy goes for the slow. It would interest me though if Asteria tries to do the similar thing, that bamboozle play, but in A side instead, which is I think what they're doing, because KO is on his way towards A, while making a lot of presence in towards mid and B.
You're definitely onto something here, Zaya. She got the opening pick, and that definitely softened up the site, but at the same time, it's kind of baiting a rotate from PNY, so it's still two players that Asteria has to deal with, but then again, they have their whole, and like basically their entire squad on this site alone. They're going in with the KO ultimate as well, and it's going to be a tough one for G9 to hold. In fact, I think they're just going to be playing up towards the back foot for the time being, but that is where Muffin Loop will strike, because she's been lurking in mid this entire time. Now the rotates come in, and it's all up to the post-plant positions from Asteria.
Yes, right now Turd will be detecting some, but of course that's a place for repositioning. Casperdo takes one Muck for the trade. That's going to be a flash here. Muck was not able to hide herself to safety, and Peachy here is going to be double peeked in towards screens here. Actually, Britzy is the one to end it with the Spectre play, and the fact that there is progress per se, at least in G9. G9 no longer leaves a certain side alone anymore, so that's basically a good thing. But in terms of post plans, the fact that Asteria already created the position, they already created the play here, so that made it a bit more difficult for G9 to really go and adjust to the positions and isolate their angles in a manner where it's supposed to favor them. So right now, because of this, Asteria may just go ahead and stick to A, since that's the amount of success that they have here, at least for their attacking side.
Probably. I mean, especially with the lineup that they've got, the amount of flashes that they can throw on the side as well. But something that they don't expect is Peachy with her judge. This time around, though, just up over the box. She's not going to be able to secure every single shot on towards Meow. And that is where it punishes them. In fact, Cherry Chaos is going to try to make it a trade, though, at least denying the mid presence. The rest of the team still in towards A, however. And that is why PNY, I think, at the very least, needs to somewhat stay alive or do a little bit of damage. That is definitely something that she can do, is just spraying past screens and now falling back. Britzy is the only one up on Heaven, and if she can actually get this, it's going to be devastating for G9, but they make it a quick trade as well. So down to this. It is an even game, but G9's players are low. They're in the red HP.
Yes, on the low. And we are now going to see some blinds coming in, but no one's actually going to be blind here. But look at the crossfire positions that is in the hands of Asteria at the moment, Cherry. Stay here. Casper will take down PNY, making a double here. Beautiful positioning coming in from them, and the patience. They didn't create sound. They waited for the right moment to strike, and it worked wonders for Asteria.
Just patient coming in from Casper. I mean, it's not just Casper as well, right? Like you mentioned, they had that perfect crossfire setup. I'm watching one angle, my teammates watching the other, and that way they've got their backs. These girls are their sisters in arms, and I don't know, G9 has a bit of catching up to do this time.
Definitely, because 7-5, yes, it is to be fair, it is still a winnable feat, especially like things tend to really change once you've switched sides. So this kind of keeps me to question where will Asteria really maintain the momentum that they have during their attacking phase. And for the question of G9, will they be able to, turn the tables around because they're the attackers? But this is the thing. Killjoy really works well, at least to me, in Split as a defender. So you would want to get a lot of points as much as possible when you're in that specific side. But 5 to 7, not a bad feat already. But Meow here starts it off with the pain shell, spots out Mook in the process. Muffin Loop, though, still takes one in the process. And this is actually looking pretty good, at least for Asteria.
At least for Asteria. For G9, no, not the
so
same.
much.
A little bit painful, in fact. Right now, I mean, Spike in towards mid, the rest of the team a little bit separated from the pack, the Killjoy at the very least, but they're trying to find an entrance somehow. Maybe the answer in towards fence, but at this point, I think it's a little bit all too telegraphed. In fact, you can see the moving parts on the map. Asteria are reacting perfectly to this. We have a little bit of information as the, I believe that's the Astra pushing in towards Garage. They sense that, no, it's not going to be B hit at all. They're definitely on to A, but Muck taking Meow down definitely softens things up. They get the spike down. Will they be able to hold this post plant?
Spike planted.
Well, in terms of numbers, they do have the upper hand, at least for one member. Britzy, though, was able to take the head down of PNY in towards site, so they are going to try and break this wall right here, but I think they can reposition, so we are seeing Muck under the rafters here, but Muck still takes the 3K. Casper and Britzy for another Casper with the 2K! And that is just beautiful plays now for Asteria. Just beautiful.
Hey, yes, it's good.
John Wick action. I don't know how she did it, but she's just walking past Elbow and finding the heads of the G9 players. And I think coming down to that, it's just the fact that, you know, you pretty much know where the G9 players would be positioned. And on the other side, G9, again, they're left playing catch up. They're wondering where Asteria is going to hit them from. At first, it was Britzy coming in from heaven. They weren't quite expecting someone to just walk in from Elbow.
Yeah. And that's actually the thing. Sometimes the predictable things can be unpredictable, and just worked well for Asteria right now. So Casper here spots out to Britzy for the cleanup. Peachy here for the trade here with the frenzy in towards that corner. So at least it kind of gave them a bit of a breather. But take note, this is a 3 versus 4 now. And wow, this is just, it needs a lot of discipline. But right now we do see gun differences here, to say the least. But right now, they're quite pinched at the moment, trying to figure out any potential play that can come from G9 right now.
I'm terrified of what might happen from sewers. In fact, they want to rotate into this. Muffin Loop pretty much hears most of it, I think.
Nope.
What? Wow. Okay, they just rotate around back. They managed to take Meow down, but that's where Muffin Loop will strike. She managed to drop the spike carrier. This is a big problem for G9 because they're basically stuck in towards mid, and they have to take these duels up ahead of them. And it's where Asteria will be able to force their hand. They're peeking into this. They know where they're flushing in. Muck has no choice but to try to play the close range angles, maybe with a right click, but it's not meant to be. Muffin Loop with the Spectre just doing the same thing that Peachy basically did to them on the previous half. So right now, Asteria with a very strong lead in the game.
Indeed. And basically, even though, let's say, Muffin Loop was taken down by Muck here, we do have Casper for the trade that is that she was in towards heaven. So that is basically Muck being cornered out in towards that fight. So they really need to try to polish or tweak things through whenever they're trying to go and get limit control. That's an early flash coming in. They're going in aggressive with a shorty. Meow 16k takes one. Movis for the trade with a phantom kill over there. But still, it's odd. The fact that Asteria now is going into the aggressive ground will be concussing Muck in the process, forces them to hide behind near sewers here. So I like it how they did an aggressive passive approach here for Asteria. They kind of like set the tone that, okay, we have the capacity to be aggressive and push you despite being defenders here. And if you notice, G9 was taken aback by it.
I know. I absolutely agree with what you're saying. I mean, this is basically the entire game. Asteria are doing things that G9 don't expect. On the other hand, G9 playing somewhat a little bit more standard, right? Their setups, the way they're approaching the sites, in fact, the timing past the Nebula as well from the Astra. Muffin Loop will be able to take one down. Thankfully, Muck was there to make it a trade. Still, though, somehow G9's forces pushing up and towards B, they've managed to break it down.
Oh,
So
Casper.
coming into this, they have to expect the unexpected, but they won't be able to do that because how do you do that? Casper is hiding in from Garage, and they don't expect her to be hiding in one spot. She comes in with the flicks, will not be able to take Muck down. It comes down to this, and it's all up to the lone KO player from Asteria.
To be fair, if we do see Britzy able to suppress either one of them, Britzy can go ahead and isolate the fight. But right now, that is the attempt coming in here. So Bitchy was suppressed. The turret is being tedious right here. Goes for the jiggle peek here. I love it how Muck is just buying some time because they know that they are in the better end in terms of, you know, buying. In terms of time. So right now we do see Britzy here trying to get Muck, but she needs to change position, but no more time to react as Muck here takes the 3K, and we are now in the 6-9 scoreline.
Yeah, that's like, Zaya, I don't know about you, but you go to the arcade and you look at all these different machines, and then there's the one that really, really infuriates you.
Yes.
And it's whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
And the mole in this situation was Muck. It's kind of like standard stuff, right? But well-timed and perfectly jiggle peeking this entire thing. It's frustrating as heck for Britzy.
Yes, indeed. And it worked well because technically you don't require to, you know, get all of those kills. The fact that you can just buy some time to deny the defuse is already, you know, big enough itself. So right now we are seeing very nice one-way smoke coming in from Trey here. You can really tell that the lineups are well practiced. But right now, because of that, it kind of set back the members of G9 here. And they kind of is waiting for these utilities to go out, and it forces them to try and change pace or change some amount of strategy that they can do. So loving the patience game though, but up to what extent can this work? Because G9 may have a good area around this especially. But Walls is going to go up here. Trey is quite outnumbered, at least in towards B side. But Trey will be taking down one. Very good call on repositioning here. PNY takes a corner, goes in towards smoke. Will be taken down by Britzy with the Spectre. Uses Express not let any utilities to be used. Pitchy, however, already plans the spike. That's gonna be a run, but Meow with the shot of the judge. Really beautifully executed Casper for the trade, and that was beautifully executed by Asteria.
Yeah, the entire round, Asteria just basically, like you said, I mean, a little bit of utility, a little bit of, you know, repositioning here and there. They're kind of switching up the pace. Like, that's basically what you said, you know. At first, G9 were trying to, it's like you're dancing with a partner and you're trying to get their rhythm. You kind of got it for a while, and then they switch things up completely. You're not quite sure how to react to that. And it's stuff like that really puts Asteria on the top of things, because G9, again, just constantly trying to catch up to whatever Asteria throws at them. At first, it's a little bit of a peak from mid, from Britzy, and then at some point, you know, they think they managed to push in towards B Heaven, but the wall goes up, and they're just like, should we go? Do we not go? They go in, they went in with a dry peek, and then it just bites them in the back. This time, though, they're going with a full 5-woman rush up towards A. Is it going to work out for G9?
Which is interesting because you don't want to line up, number one, and number two, the best case scenario for G9 here is to force out the utilities from Asteria. But the thing is, Asteria here is being really patient and passive in towards whatever noise that they're trying to make in towards A main. And if you notice, because it suddenly died down, they have already the thought that, oh, okay, maybe they go for the rotate, and hence
Vandal from Asteria that takes them out. Just take a look at this. It's a bloodbath. Every time they try to make a move in towards A, they get denied. Muck's the only one left, and she tries to do what she can with a Spectre, but at the end of the day, that's still a pea shooter compared to the Phantom So, Asteria only 2 rounds away from victory.
2 rounds away from victory here, as you say. And in terms of, you know, really reaching that, they are quite in a lax position here to at least, you know, give some, or at least, you know, create some applause at least, or some setbacks for Asteria. But the fact is, at this point, even though it's not yet even though it's not yet 12 points or match point for Asteria, G9's rounds, to say the least, from all of this duration, it already counts. It's already important. So they need to create the best of decisions. And I am not in favor of the Sage being the first one to be
for them. G9, they have the players, they have the guns this time around, but I think they're lacking a little bit in terms of executes. The way that they're trying to break open into the site, but every single step they go, every area they approach, it gets denied by some form of utility from Asteria. In fact, right now, Muffin Loop activating the Seekers to just get some information, buy a little bit more time. And if you take a look at the top of your screen, there's only 30 seconds remaining for G9. They have to go in with a Hail Mary play in towards the B site, and I don't know if it's going to work out for them. In fact, some of them are already suppressed. They might be able to get the spike down, but it's Asteria in control.
Indeed, and that ult coming in from Shrey in towards mid really went tedious, and they can't go for that flank control. And right now we do see the retake is going to happen here. Paint shells as well to try and shove off the members. Trailblazers for some information. So they do know that one's already in sight. That's going to be a flash. Will be going in. Double peek it, but will be taking one for the trade. And they will try their best to go for it.
One enemy remaining.
If they want to start chaining rounds back in this side. Wait, they actually won that? This turned into a 7-11. What? I thought, okay.
Dance at the moment, but okay, there it went back on me. But the fact that we was able to go and get the 7th point, it means they were able to turn at least the tides around for that previous round. So right now they need to do that, those similar plays for the next few rounds, you know, force it everything to an overtime, or you know, maybe swag up the match point. Who knows? Let's see. But right now, using the smoke in towards heaven. A lot of them are in here. And look at this move. So we'll be taking down Trey. Looks in towards these corners. But I am interested on how they position themselves. Peachy is already aggressive as she is. And right now, we'll be finding the spike. Sherry, though, for that. Indeed, and because of that, they were able to spike up another point for themselves. So again, we've mentioned time and time again, all of the rounds that's going to happen from this, from earlier, will count for 9, and they're slowly thriving into it. Casper here uses the Sheriff to basically destroy the turret, but right now, Moko will be flashed, but I am not fond of, you know, the aggressive that's coming from Asteria, but at the same time, they are kind of a half bite, because Meow is with a Vandal, Casper's with a Sheriff. I was not able to take a better look of their weaponry here, but Meow will be taking Sherry KX here in towards mid. PNY for the trade. Uses the paint shells.
Okay.
All right, that was a very nice angle coming in. Shoves away PNY to go back to safety. Will the res happen? Yes, indeed. It's the peak. Oh, beautiful. Utilizes the gap in towards the wall just to take that kill. That was amazing stuff. And right now we do see Muffin Loop rather, for actually getting a trade with the op kill. This is a 3 versus 4, so this could be a bit difficult, especially with Muffin Loop. right now, but that's going to still be a kill coming in from her, taking down Muck. So 3 versus 3. Take note, 2
Spike
from
planted.
Asteria are low. So let's see. Muffin Loop needs to heal
Oh.
first before anything else.
I'm so terrified of what could happen because G9, they're actually able to make some plays happen, but at the same time, Muffin Loop, this girl is so sharp. Right now, she's using her utility to make sure that nothing's going to bite them in the back, and this confirms that the players from G9 are on site itself. We'd see, I mean, Stray Uwu just making sure that the corners are clear now, making their way on towards the site itself. They take Peachy down, and all that's left is pretty much elbow. Question is it going to be the left or the right side? They hear the footsteps. They're looking to take her down, but Cherry Tex comes in with the sprays with the Phantom. Will not be able to secure Sheree, who hits her. Classic. Still though, bought enough time, and there we have it. G9 with the comebacks.
Definitely, with the 9 points to 11, and wow, at least that was a close call to say the least for G9, but the fact that they were able to swag up that point's really commendable for them. And right now, Asteria, as I said, they do have still that certain amount of space to have some sort of setbacks, which is what we're seeing right here, because that was already 3 points consecutively in the hands of G9. So what the best thing that they can do here is they do already know the pacing on how G9 works, especially when they're trying to enter a site. So maybe if they can counteract that with the same amount of pace that they're doing. Look at this. Toxins is going to be used. Take note that the armor is also not that. And PNY with only 1 HP forces the satchel away, because that's just 1 bullet through. And you don't want casualties. And right now, Muffin Loop, though, still going to take Movies down in towards A, which is actually good. And also got the time to reposition. So I love the strategy now that Asteria is really being defensive and being passive at that. They're not really playing for and going for the peaks. They're waiting actually for the correct entry. But look at this, Cherry KX was able to spot out Muffin Loop by an inch and goes for the trade.
G9 has been threading the needle, and they're quite successful at doing that. It's very lovely to see, but they've taken a little bit too long now. 30 seconds remaining, and as soon as they walk in, it's going to be met by Meow with the Vandal. And then Britzy with the double from the back onto where this B site. Every single site under lock and key.
And that is match point now for Asteria here, really making wonders. And they just really needed that perfect moment to strike, because look at the economy right now. It damaged a lot for the side of G9. And look, having Spectres and with PNY having the half armor here.
I still want to believe, though.
Yeah. I also do want to believe, because what G9 has been doing has been very great. They were able to snag up 3 points in the process, so that's not an easy feat. But they were able to do it. Showstopper looks at the angles here.
Wait, what?
Tries to randomly put it on a spot, but Muffin Loop can out positions that pack. Goes for the flash, whips a little bit, but still gets the job done. 1-5. This could be a potential flawless fight, but no. Muck takes it down. Shrey for the trade, and you have it there. Iron Crack, we have Asteria to win the first round, or the first match.
Almost was going to be a flawless, but Muck just whacks her finger and says, "Nah, this we might have lost a round, but we're gonna make it difficult for you regardless." Asteria have proven that they came into this matchup pretty much quite prepared. Okay, there were a little bit of technical issues. I think there's some connection problems. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, Muffin Loop at the top of the scoreboard. That's what I expected. I mean, she's incredibly sharp. Even on a Sky, even if she's not playing Arena, she's able to rack up these kills because she's that sharp with her flicks. I mean, you see it on the screen almost all the time. On the other hand, though, it's G9, and yeah, like I said, they were pretty much trying to play catch-up. A lot of these rounds, you see them with the Spectres in their hands. Sometimes they're able to make it work, especially when they're on defense, because they can just hold the angle, expect Asteria to push into them. But on the other side, on towards attack, it's that much more difficult.
And yeah, we did mention time and time again, especially with the Killjoy. It's like a double-edged sword because Killjoy in retrospect is really thriving in a defender's side. So you'd want to take a lot of points in there, which unfortunately Asteria was able to find their way around it. And the thing is, you would really also want to commend Pitchy, to say the least, for trying those aggressive plays. Take note, coming in from the Judge plays or even the Spectre plays at hand, to at least create some space for the team. But at the end of the day, we do see Asteria still with the synergy that came from them, and I think it's already safe to say that they already won their split map.
Yep, they really did, and this is where things, I think, get a little bit cold, a little bit chilly for G9, because I'm not sure if they're going to perform as well on the next map. I mean, they might have had a pretty good-ish run in towards the group stages, especially winning a lot of rounds on Icebox, but Asteria, they're really strong on this map as well. And looking at the way they played Split, again, another map that maybe, it's not so common to see from Asteria. The fact that they have all these lineups, these setups, I feel a little bit terrified for G9. I'd be shaking if I were them.
Indeed, but right now this is Icebox already. Once we're coming in towards the second match, we did see earlier time and time again that both of them, both of the teams really do well in towards Icebox. So it's a battle of who gets that title on conquering this said map. We did see a serious performances right now, so technically in terms of momentum, they do have the upper hand. For the side of G9 though, I'm still believing, because they have those moments wherein they can go for clutch plays, they can go for close fights, but it's just basically depending on how much they are able to execute their play styles really in a manner where it's timely, at the same time take or catch the members of Asteria off guard, because I noticed that that's how they were able to win that 3 rounds consecutively towards the second half of our first round. They were able to catch the members of Asteria off guard with their positions, and basically those are one of the moments that they also need to proceed with caution. So I want to see how they're going to do this into the Icebox map.
Exactly, right? Like you said, they need a little bit of that spice. They need to change things up a little bit and maybe surprise Asteria with something that they weren't expecting. But with that said, we're going to go for a quick break before we go into our next map. So don't go away, guys. Do not close the browser, because we will be right back with map number 2. It's Icebox, Asteria versus G9. And welcome back, folks. It is still the FSL Valorant Circuit VCT Game Changers Southeast Asia. That's always quite a mouthful, but we are your casters. Hey, I'm Quack, and with me is none other than Zaya, aka Pachi. How you doing?
Hello. Hello there, I'm Quack, and I'm really excited because earlier we did see some intense plays coming in from both sides of the teams. It was pretty close. It's not a one-sided play, so both of our teams, you can safely say that they're both really remarkable teams. But right now it comes down to the second match, potentially a match point for Asteria. Maybe we can get that sweep coming in, but we do see we've seen time and time again that G9 was able to also snag their wins in towards the Icebox map. So this is pretty interesting, and I would like to ask you, what do you think are going to be their lineups in here, since Icebox is one of the bigger maps that we have right now, and there are a lot of varieties of strategies that you can play with.
It's quite a number for sure. But I think Icebox is one of those maps where some teams they still like to opt for the Omen, or maybe sometimes try something a little bit more interesting like an Astra. But generally, what we've seen from most of the teams in FSL is the staple of you always have a Sage, because her wall is kind of, I guess, valuable, and then you have a Viper as a controller just because her wall extends up to a pretty long range. And aside from that, you have your poison orb as well. Other than that, your typical duelist, maybe a Jet, maybe not Jet anymore because of the nerf, which people seem to struggle with sometimes. I know I personally have struggled with that. But that aside, you just kind of fill in those gaps, right? It's always Viper, Sage, and then something else. And I think what we've seen so far, at least in the group stages for Asteria, is that Muffin Loop, she's the core, I guess, fragger. She'll go with Reyna. Meow 16k, sometimes the Rays. I think on Icebox, she goes with Jet. Britzy filling in, trying to play for that information this time around. We see her as Sova, and then of course Casper, Sage, Shrey, Uwu, the dedicated controller. She's going to go with Viper. Now, the thing that I'm thinking about is how are G9 going to react to this? Because I don't think G9 has played against Asteria before, unless, I don't know about if they scrim together or anything. But yeah, it's something that we often see, at least on Split, G9. They weren't quite sure what Asteria were doing sometimes. It's only when they were feeling a little bit more confident, a little bit more gung-ho, and then they start playing really aggressively in towards the B side on their attacking side that they managed to chain a few rounds back to back. But aside from that, it's like one Asteria, one G9, and then two Asteria, one G9, and that's where Asteria starts to walk away with the lead.
Indeed. And yeah, it's really exciting how things are going to pan out, because these are, you can safely say these are one of the strengths or the very powerful maps that both of our teams have. So in terms of strategy, I'm pretty sure they will be coming up with some amount of plays, because I'm pretty sure they've also watched the group stages, and pretty sure they've studied some amount of plays and tactics that both of our teams have done. So at this point, I don't really have a question of skill for both of them. I think it's just more on how they are able to execute their gameplay, in a way that it would turn into their favor. This is Icebox, so I'm actually expecting pretty interesting agents other than the Jet, because you mentioned the nerf that come from Jet. You can't really regenerate those blade storms after that right click, so it has been very tedious, or it's a huge adjustment to some, especially when you've accustomed yourself into, okay, I'm using blade storm, so right click is all the way. Yeah, right. So that's a big adjustment for the Jet users out there. So because of that, I think I could see a Reyna Rays lineup once again, at least in my opinion. In terms of controller, it could be the Viper or the Astra composition as well. That because Casper's been doing really well with the Astra, which was evident during our previous round, and as well for Asteria per se, the smokes. In terms of that, I think it's also maybe into the hands of a Viper or the Astra. For G9, I agree with you. In terms of how are they going to react to whatever roster that they plan to be against Asteria, it's interesting because they haven't fought yet. At least as I can recall, they haven't really had a match together yet, which is this is the match they're gonna have right now. So I think in terms of controllers, either Killjoy Cypher, maybe, depending, and of course the Sova. Okay, there you go, Sova for the intel, as usual for both sides of the team. And Sage, again, you mentioned this earlier that the wall is basically, really comes in handy to a big and wide map as this. And of course, with that, hey, I'm Quack. We're just gonna start it off here with our second match of this first best of threes. This is the game between Asteria and G9 on Icebox.
That is absolutely right. And of course, this being the second map, it's do or die for G9, because if they don't get this, they get sent in towards the lower bracket, where I guess that's where they were starting off in towards the group stages. So I don't know if they want to go back there again, but they certainly have quite a bit of skill. I mean, these are the girls from the X Magnifique team, one of the also wildcards. I mean, this is FSL wildcard, but this is also a bit of a wildcard team, because never really seen them that much. They don't pop off too often, but when they do, they really chain some kills together. I mean, I gotta remind you, there was a round in the previous map that I believe it was PNY who picked up a quick quadra kill.
Yes.
She went for the ace, but she got shut down.
Indeed. So with that being said, Hamcock, we're going to start it off right now. And the aggression coming from Asteria starts off with B site. I love it how this wall basically just narrowed down the big of a site as this one. But look at this. Because of that wall being up, it now lets the members of G9 to really march in and try to position themselves in a favorable manner. A lot of pinches, a lot of utilities being used by PNY right now, but Casper and the gang. Naya planting the spike. I think they want to play for peaks and just, take, what they can first. So that in terms of numbers, they have the upper hand. So right now, this wall being a bit tedious, to say the least. But Cherry KX started off with the frenzy kill on towards Trey. And both of them are Vipers for this match.
Yep, 2 Vipers, very core pick for this map, but more interestingly enough, it's the way that they're playing around the site that really intrigues me for the side of G9. I mean, they're playing very safely all the way onto the other side of the site itself, not really exposing themselves to anything. As soon as I say that, the PNY is going to get her head taken off, but this wall is something that Muffin Loop might not expect. I think she probably heard it though. But does she know that Brit's... Okay, wow. Instant flicks on towards the top. She's taking 3 players down on her own. No, that's going to be 2. But of course, it's the same strategy from Asteria. They come in, they make some noise on the side, but the spike's getting planted on the other side of the map, and that's going down on A. They managed to take 2 players down, and all that's left is Cherry KX.
Loving it because the plant situation coming in, the spike is planted in heaven respectively, so they just have the option to just wait. And speaking of that, Meow 16K did not wait, because the moment that Cherry KX peaked was the moment that they were able to close off the round. So that's actually a pretty good start now for Asteria. Again, they love this place wherein they create noise, and when it came into a point where G9 went into a reactive state to quickly rotate, that's the time wherein they change their site, or they change their strategy in a way that they are able to adapt really well in towards that round specifically. So if they keep doing this, it really may work wonders for Asteria. But the question here though is that, will G9 adapt to this quick change that Asteria has been doing?
I don't know if they can, because even if they try to do something in terms of strategy, look at the way that Asteria are playing. They're so confident just walking in towards mid. They drop the Vandal, which really does hurt them, because in the hands of PG, that is something that you don't want to give up. 2v3 now, and the spike is getting planted on A. Even with the post-plant positions, I feel that G9 can do quite a bit of damage.
Quite a bit of damage right here, but wait, the spike has been planted. Britzy will be spotting out Muck in here, and look at the position right now, of 3 of the members here. It's basically for waiting. It's not a kind of lineup where you have to go aggressively. You just have to wait for someone to tap into that spike. And speaking of that tap, that's going to be Britzy for 1. Pitchy is forced to at least go into safe haven to try and save this Vandal from being taken down. But look at this right now. Not going to let that happen, as Britzy takes the 3K for their second point.
Oh, did they throw the Vandal off the map? No, they actually managed to bring it back. Okay. They secured it. Alright. That was a little bit scary, but regardless, yes, you're seeing the same thing from Asteria. The way that they're playing, it's very aggressive, but they're feeling themselves. They're incredibly confident in taking these duels. I think they know that they can out-aim and out-frag the G9 girls. So coming down to this, G9 really need to figure something out, because if it's the same setup time and time again, they're going to get overrun. In fact, right now, line up in towards B site. They push PNY off of yellow, and she has no choice but to play up towards site. I mean, it's a little bit safer here, sure, but she's giving them a lot of space to work with.
Which, in hindsight, is the best case scenario that we would want. Casper here goes for the wall. That's a beautiful spike plan, and the post-plant positions are already in towards their favor. So they managed to basically make B side a smaller amount, half of the piece of the pie, which is good. Muffin Loop for the Lear. Take note, this is bonus round here, Quacks. So basically, whatever happens, they will be having better weaponry. But look at this, both will be trading themselves off. Pitchy, another with a kill for himself, but the time is ticking. PNY takes one. Will it be another?
Lineups.
Oh, but okay, they have time. But then again, as I mentioned, they do have money once again to.
Oh no.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, actually denies a gun, gets the Vandal, but who's gonna be taken down first? Okay, no, no, they just decided to go for the hide and seek.
For a second, I did think that G9 wouldn't be able to get the bonus round, but thankfully they did. So we're off to a standard start. But look at this, their economy. It's damage done again from Asteria. Somehow, even with the Spectres, because of all the space that was given up, they were actually able to push up. They got the spike down, and once that happens, they feel a lot more comfortable. In fact, Shreu actually rotating all the way in towards mid just to catch them from a spot that they weren't quite expecting. Maybe they got the spike defused, but she managed to retrieve the Vandal. So that again, it's something that really hurts G9 in the long run. They might have gotten that round, but how are they going to defend this time around? PNY with the Spectre dropping off. It's just a little bit of a jump in accuracy, so Meow will be able to capitalize off of that. And now that they have the numbers advantage, it's a lot easier for Asteria to break in towards the site.
And
Okay,
speaking of breach, you tasted it again.
It's a caster's curse.
Yes, indeed, definitely. And it's really ringing on you at the moment right here, Quack. But right now, that's going to be a trade here as Muffin Loop takes advantage of Move's basically, whiffing that off. So Casper and Muffin Loop tries to check for Raptors here. The spike has been planted towards heaven. Actually, no. It's into the corner, so they plan on staying in towards the site. So this could be a make or break play coming in from G9. Birdsea, though, will be taking down Muck into the corner. So Birdsea will not spot out Pitchy and will be giving a gun for her. But Muffin Loop spots it out, and that's what's going to happen. The timing is impeccable. Muffin Loop takes advantage of that. That's going to be a beautiful smoke to deny Cherry from, entering with, precaution. And is just forced to back away. Goes in towards
exit frag?
their spawn? Tries to spot out and actually will try to hide. Oh, but okay. It's still in the range of the spike. But alright.
I'm just
I don't know if it's like she anticipated that the spike was a bit too far off, but
a little bit.
Yeah.
She's definitely kind of hoping for exit frags, but kind of I guess misjudging where the spike explosion would happen. So right around the edge of it, unfortunately, she gets caught, and also probably maybe going for that round loss bonus, right? Because if you die and the spike is planted, it's better somehow. Regardless, she doesn't hold her weapon onto the next round, and she has to go with a full save. The entire team will as well, so that's why they're playing all these unorthodox positions. But Meow 16K will still clear them out, and again, same story, same old story. Asteria are able to find an opening pick. They're able to bring up the site, and spike should get planted. Wait, they're
making their way once again towards A. This has happened multiple times. Meow 16K, that's for 2K. This is really going onslaught for her right now. And look at the space, as you mentioned time and time again, that was created by these members. Really the synergy, and this is now the planted that can really happen for Belts and Heaven. So this is really working well for Asteria right now. The wall is good because you get the impression that, okay, this area is quite free, but Muffin Loop has to be very careful. Meow 16K with the 3K really going onslaught here today. Muffin Loop with another one. Hey, Cherry KX is going for the shutdown, but that's not enough in here. Let's see. She's remaining, but the knife from Sherry was so sneaky back there. And that is the 4th point for Asteria and the first knife that we have today, to say the least.
You could just could just kind of hear Shrey laughing in the background somewhere, pulling the knife. She knew she had that, and
Yeah.
unfortunately for Cherry KX, I
Mhm.
guess Shrey's the better Viper for now. You know, it's
Mhm.
these plays happening again and again. It's very consistent for Asteria to do this, and G9. It's now or never because they lose this map. They get sent to the lower brackets. I said it before. I'll say it again. They need to adapt to whatever Asteria is throwing at them. In fact,
Yes.
maybe switching things up this time. It's going to be Cherry KX trying to make a little bit of mid presence known. But wow, Shrey going on a little bit of an adventure. She's sneaking up tube, and I don't think G9 expect this at all.
Well, they need to. This is the magic of Asteria at this point. They're creating plays. They're shaking things up, and the fact that they are able to catch G9 off guard is something that it takes time to do. But if you do it, it really goes snowballing along the way. And look at that. Shrey already started off by taking down one Meow for another for himself. Casper as well spotting out the head. Muffin Loop for that double trade. And to end it all off was not even able to release that showstopper and gets their 5th point.
This is very, very unfortunate for G9. In fact, I just took a look at how the map selection process went, and I think this is characteristic of Asteria because on Split, they were the ones who got to pick a side, and they picked attack for a reason. Now that they're on attack on Icebox, I feel this is where they feel so much more comfortable because they get to make the plays. They get to force G9 to react to them and try to do something. And every time they do that, they change things up. I mean, take a look at this. The past few rounds now, they've gone mid, they've gone B. This time it's just full on some kind of noise in towards A. And I don't know if G9 are going to expect this. They did send a couple players down along with the Aldrone in towards Garage, and that actually might be the play.
Indeed. So look at this. This is a very nice sandwich play that can come from Asteria right now. So look at that. Meow 16 was able to spot up PNY under rafters. Muffin Loop as well for a kill of her own. So this is the sandwich thing that I've been referring to. Because they went from B, others go from A. That the members in towards A kind of are cornered. But look at this. Shrey did not even give a chance to breathe for PG as she takes it down. Shrey here again for that second. Really beautiful execution. And like you mentioned, because Asteria here really dictates the play, really goes, because they're attackers, they have the capability to be versatile in towards this map, which is quite commendable because some, if you notice, they go for that similar strategy. Okay, let's go A. If not A, go B. If not, let's go mid. But they are playing around the map. They're creating noise. They're creating plays, which is quite commendable for them. So your question here, if G9 is able to go and adapt to this, they basically have to. They can't really go on full passive because the fact that they are able to go and flank is one of the things that Asteria is really known for. But PNY starts it off, taking down one. Shrey here, very careful. Gonna be spotted out, but did not expect Cherry KX's presence. But the revive coming in from Casper here, at least to try and make it a fair play. Meow 16k, spots out Cherry. Hey, what is this? Is this a knife? Is another knife? Oh dear. Okay, no. All right. Okay, that made me feel nervous a bit back there. But look at this. They meet their ends, and Muck finally gets that kill. It's a 3 versus 5 now, and Muck goes for the reds. Muck here will be spotting on Muffin Loop with the Empress. Takes it down, make it another here as she spots out PNY as well. Not gonna go down without a fight here. Will be aiding the members as she goes towards B long and goes for this post-plant situation. Mulbase has ult though, so let's see up to what extent they can use this. That's going to be an ult coming in from Cherry KX. Mulbase takes down Casper. Let's see how things are going to pan out right here. They cannot go in towards that ult. And they are basically cornered in towards yellow. And this is the second point now for G9.
lovely bit of coordination, right? Like you said earlier on, Asteria have been truly versatile, but this time I think G9 are starting to finally adapt and read how Asteria has been playing thus far. Shreu often playing around mid, trying to walk through her own poison orbs, maybe a little bit of presence in towards A as well, but unfortunately for Asteria, that got denied really early on, and that forced Casper to use her ultimate to revive her fallen teammate. At the same time, the numbers advantage just wasn't on their side because of the reads from G9. By the time they managed to get the spike down on B, like, sure, it's okay, but they didn't have the numbers advantage. That's where G9 will be able to, coordinate and push in towards yellow as a team. You wrap around the left, I'll wrap around the right, and Asteria just weren't able to lock down those duels. So because of that, they win the round, but coming into this one, what will G9 do next?
Yes, but you notice as well that during the previous round, they had ults to utilize. But what if they don't? So that's also another question that we have to consider. That's going to create some chip damage for Casper, but will be healing immediately. Muffin Loop right here goes for the plant. PNY will be spotted, goes back in towards below rafters here outside from spawn. Will be spotted out, but luckily was able to go back away. So let's see. Muffin Loop already in the position in towards Raptors, uses the Leer, not going to be blinded. Meow16k goes for the op kill from Peachy. This is really a good wall as well from Trey because the spike is seen. So right now, look at this. Trey coming in from them. It all just went downhill consecutively. And Asteria getting that flawless round, and this is the 7th point now.
Entire play just made off the back of Casper's wall. This is a big problem of G9's because we see this repeatedly now. The way that they're playing, yes, it's very, I guess, passive. Sometimes that works out. It's very defensive as well because they're all the way at the back of the site. But the thing is, that gives Asteria so much space. Casper just basically walked onto site. No one was there to contest her. She got to plant that wall down basically for free.
Ooh.
And here we go again. It's Meow16 trying to create some space. As soon as they sense a little bit of that danger, look at what PNY is doing. Backing off completely. A little bit of presence in towards A and mid as well, and they're losing out in these duels. It really, really hurts G9. And I have no idea how they're going to come back from those 3 losses now.
And Casper to also take down Peachy in the process here. And take note, the spike is in towards B. So maybe goes for the call to rotate since it's only PNY with the ghost. And Meow16 tries to peek. Okay, not gonna be seen, but Casper goes with the beautiful 4K here. And then another flawless fight. So basically, Quack, we're starting to see like the dominance that Asteria is really known for here towards Icebox, and it's going to force G9 to exert double the effort once we switch sides.
It definitely double the effort, triple the effort, quadruple the effort. I have no idea how G9 are going to come back for this, but they need to figure something out. It really is this Asteria sandwich that you've so aptly described, because the way that they're playing, again, look, a little bit of presence in towards mid, and that gives them that safe passage to basically lock anyone off on rotates. Even if they decide to pull off a bamboozle, rotate back towards B, G9 are stuck and they won't be able to react appropriately to this. So this time around, a little bit different. Not a lot of noise in towards mid at all. In fact, it's just this huge toxic screen that's blocking Asteria for the time being. But I am genuinely afraid of what Meow16 can pull off with this operator, because we haven't seen her popped off that much with this yet, but she has been accurate thus far.
Very accurate and really create wonders for the team. And look at how slow paced the members of Asteria are at. So this is basically conditioning the members of G9 that if you noticed earlier, they're quite moderate to fast paced in terms of pushing. Now they're just going in for slow and goes in towards the act, but Moves will prevent Casper from actually going through, but this now goes from the ult coming in, so this is quite interesting. Now let's see how they are gonna pan this out. Muffin Loop in towards that corner, that's information, so they may choose to double peek. Muffin Loop uses the E coming in to reposition, but PNY goes for the push, and right now we do see that Meow16k takes the op, make it a double. Is it going to be a triple at this point? Trey is just hiding in here above and behind, and Trey spots out Peachy, was not seen into the light of day, and that is the 9th point now from Asteria. Really showing dominance here.
Just really, you said it all. Truly dominating. I mean, they don't even get to see the sun. They're basically locked down on a site forever. Whenever Asteria get the spike down, G9 it's just like, can we crack open the window? Can we get a couple of kills, please? But no, it's the Viper's Pit. It's everything that Asteria are throwing at them. And this time around, Meow16 looking to get very aggressive. She's got her knives out, and she's looking for some kills. She knows that they're on the other side of this cargo box because of the bullets that have been fired thus far, but moving past this toxic screen is getting a little bit pesky. In fact, just annoying Cherry KX for a little bit. It's Casper who comes in. The teamwork from Asteria. All that's left is Move's, and I don't know what she can do from Kitchen.
Basically, it came into a point where in Asteria forced out the members of G9 to really go aggressive and approach. And the fact that they were able to take mid control in a manner wherein, despite having that tedious wall to work with, was able to create magic. And Move's here is trying to create the magic of his own, but Trey from the behind gets her down. And it's just, as I say, snowball effect for the side of Asteria. They dominated the first half. Let's see if they are able to double that up once we switch sides.
And it all comes down to this pistol, doesn't it? Because if they take it, you know, we're looking at a potential 12-2. And that's just match point forever for G9. And at that point, like, yes, you have your sportsmanship, you have your competitive spirit, but you need a tremendous amount of willpower in order to just keep on going and to not give up and to not make a single mistake, because one little gap and you can bet your bottom dollar that Asteria are going to come in and steal whatever you've got. So G9, they need this pistol round right here, right now.
And it's gonna happen, but Meow16 opens it up with taking down PNY, who tried to be aggressive here. Okay, Muffin Loop saw huge amount of information there, spotting out the members of G9 here. So they are forced now to disperse. So they need to create another strategy here, and they can't. And take note, they can't really do the same thing twice because it's going to be difficult for them. But right now, Muffin Loop spots out Pitchy once again in towards Spawn, takes it down, and the members of G9 slowly dwindling, which is unfortunate here, but they are trying to force the issue despite having the wall that Casper made in towards site, goes in towards Jenny, not going to be seen, but still whips a bit from Meow16, takes it one Melvis for the trade, but right now they can still go for the spike plant right now. Let's see how things are gonna go. Does a bit of a right click, is another, goes, both of them are ripping, Move still does it, and we'll see. It's starting to create some light. Look, also take one down. Muffin Loop for the trade. 2 versus 1. Not enough as Muffin Loop takes the 3K for the 11th point of Team Asteria.
I was just starting to believe.
Me too, honestly.
To believe the magic, but it's just not enough utility, not enough health, not enough everything. Muck finally able to get a couple kills in the round, but it's just still, at the end of it, Asteria getting the opening picks. They're just a little bit more prepared, and making these trades happen, it really dwindles down G9's numbers, and that's where Asteria will start to chain these wins back to back. Of course, like we said, whoever wins the pistol, they're going to have the commanding lead, and right now, Asteria, they're going into this with their Spectres. I don't know what G9 are expecting to pull off, because if they don't have a perfect setup for this, if they don't steal away some kind of weaponry from Asteria, it's just game over. Vandal, you got the Marshal, I don't know.
This is difficult here, but look at that, whips a bit here for Muffin Loop, and because of that match point already flawless here, we didn't even have time to complete the thought because it was all too fast, and because Asteria knows that they don't have the weaponry for it, and the fact that they just, you know, went ham and go straight towards where G9 is at, you can really tell that they know when to be aggressive and when to just defend passively. And right now, Asteria, this is bonus round for them. So regardless, they can still buy for the next round if ever G9 were to win this. And G9 here, very forced to buy the utilities that they need. That's going to be Recon Vault. Not going to detect Muffin Loop just yet because she was able to go and back off. We do see boom bots here being used. That's going to be Satchel. Muffin Loop with the reaction speed still takes PNY down. That's going to be a rear use Empress. Yeah.
They're backing off a little, but this is where Asteria can potentially go ham. G9 is just looking to push onto its side to get the spike planted, but it's not safe for now. A blind shot past the toxic screen. She gets it down, but she immediately gets traded, and Muck is trying to pull off the clutch of the century. She gets the headshot, hears him from above, but Sheree, ooh, the air assassination. And she takes it 13-2. It's Asteria who move forward in the brackets, and unfortunately for G9, they get sent down and towards the lower brackets.
Indeed, and right now, because this is going to be the scoreboard that we have right now, Muffin Loop really popping off, especially with that Reyna, as we have mentioned time and time again, with the econ rating 104, First Bloods 2, but you also have to commend Meow16K here, 6 First Bloods. Basically, with every entry that she does, she's able to create the magic, as well as Trey here, who's the utility, but at the same time really knows how to assassinate, literally. And the utilities that's coming in from Britzy and Casper really synergized well with the amount of aggression that Asteria was doing in general. For the side of G9, you also have to commend them because we at least for the first 2 rounds, they were able to really try their best to basically, you know, make ends meet. But unfortunately, Asteria shutting them down and knowing that this is their domain, this is their territory, they were basically much, you know, protective of it. And right now, it shows. They basically demonstrated that they have not lost a single Icebox match.
Yeah, I mean, this is their home. It's Icebox, and they truly know how to play this map. And in fact, even taking some principles of how they play on Icebox and apply that onto its split, the way that they go for that mid control, the way that they come in with that so-called Asteria sandwich. You know, I love this little bit of a food theme that we've got going on right now because they got a sandwich, they're going ham. I dare say, these girls, they got a cold cut trio going. I don't know, Subway Eat Fresh. You got Muffin Loop. She's the salami or the pastrami or I don't know what. You got Meow16K, and she's another cold cut like ham or something.
I apologize, that was unintentional. I never meant it to be a food bonanza here, but hey, if it works, if it floats the boat, then why not, right? But that is GG's to Asteria, you know, really securing a 2-0, a sweep in towards the first best of 3s that we have. And these games are really, really amazing right now, and whoo, the intensity of these games.
It's only gonna get more intense. This is only day 1 of the VCT Game Changers Southeast Asia FSL wildcard. Only 2 teams, the top 2 teams of this entire bracket, will be able to secure their slots in towards FSL Elite, the big competition at the end of the year. But who knows who they're gonna be? Asteria for now looking very, very good, but our next teams as well, potentially almost the same, I dare say, because Couldn't Care Less versus Komorebi Hearts. Couldn't Care Less has a couple players from who used to be ex-Asteria as well, right?
Yes, indeed. I'm just really excited how things are going to pan out here, and the fact that the intensity of all of these games coming in from the girls is just really amazing. It makes you want to play, you know?
It always does. After casting Valorant, it's like, all right, we're done casting. Let me hop on a game now. That's probably what I'm gonna do during the break. But yes, we're gonna go for a quick break. Maybe I can slot in a death match somewhere in between there. But regardless, we are thank you to our sponsors, Intel, Yahoo, and of course our new partners, Secret Lab. There we go.
Ooh.
But
Ooh,
yeah, they help us, really keep our lights on. But aside from that, we got our next matchup coming soon. So guys, do not go away because we will be back for even more Valorant action. We'll be back after this.